A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Luima, but first are the headlines. Museveni, Abu Dhabi Crown Prince discuss investment further cooperation. Uganda Airlines is said to launch first international flight to Dubai today. Democratic Republic of Congo president frustrated by despicable sex abuse by World Health Organization workers. And in sports, Crested Cranes and convincing win over Eswatini. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. President Museveni has met and held bilateral discussions with Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the United Arab Emirates Forces and ruler of Abu Dhabi. We have more. The meeting took place on Saturday evening at the Crown Princess Al Meena Palace in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, and was attended by ministers JJ Odong of Foreign Affairs and Matia Kasaija of Finance. The Crown Prince welcomed Museveni to Abu Dhabi, UAE, and noted that the visit was of great importance and a rare opportunity for him to benefit from Museveni's experience and knowledge of security and country building. The Abu Dhabi ruler commended Museveni for his contribution to peace building in the region and pledged to work with him in this effort. On the side of investment, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi directed his Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed, who was in attendance, to lead a delegation of high-profile business people to Uganda for investment opportunities. On his part, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni applauded his counterpart for the warm reception for him and his delegation and invited him to visit Uganda, which invitation the Crown Prince accepted. President Museveni briefed the Crown Prince on the 4 major investment sectors that the UAE can interest themselves in, including production of steel, fertilizers, energy, and agro-processing. The president said that Uganda has got good iron ore but still used the reconciled steel that is not good for strong steel. The meeting was attended by the UAE ambassador to Uganda, Ambassador Abdullah Al-Shamiz, and the Ugandan ambassador to UAE, Ambassador Zake Chibedi, among others. Uganda Airlines is said to launch its first international flight on Monday. The flight will be to Dubai, according to acting CEO Jennifer Bamuturachi. Bamuturachi said that the flight will have over 80 people who have paid to fly.
Bamuturachi said that the launch comes at a right time because Dubai is a trade city in a trade country and they expect to maximize this opportunity. Bamuturachi added that Uganda Airlines comes to cement the trade partnerships that they have been talking about during the Dubai Expo, trade partnerships between Uganda and United Arab Emirates, particularly Dubai, so as an airline represents the country. Bamuturachi added that Uganda Airlines is bringing together the two countries to do business. Asked what Uganda Airlines can learn from Dubai's booming airline business, the acting CEO said that they learn about quality, customer service, quality on board, and when it comes to the type of equipment they are flying with, they compare. She said the A330neo that will be flying the Dubai route is the newest of the Airbus model. Bamuturachi added that it is beautiful with 3 class, business, premium, economy, and economy. So in terms of competition, they will definitely compete because they have a good equipment. She said that Uganda Airlines is ready to compete internationally and they cannot afford to be mediocre in what they do.
Moving on, Ugandans traveling to South Sudan will from today require no visas as the world's youngest country scraps visa requirements for one of its largest trading partners. The move by the two trading partners in the East African community will strengthen trade relations and bilateral cooperation.
In a notice at weekend from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperatives, South Sudan said that Ugandans with valid travel documents will require no visa to enter the country. The notice reads in part that all entry and exit, including missions and embassies abroad, are directed to comply with the directive. The move comes just 2 weeks after the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, Rebecca Kadaga, said South Sudan should reciprocate, scrapping visa and related fees that Uganda had already scrapped. Uganda and South Sudan have strong ties, with Uganda hosting a number of high-profile South Sudan citizens and refugees. South Sudan has been struggling to shake off unending civil strife that has not only affected its economy but has impacted its neighbors. South Sudan is Uganda's second leading export destination in the East African community after Kenya. Data from Bank of Uganda indicates that in July, $36.7 million worth of goods were exported to South Sudan, with the leading exports being cereals, maize and wheat flour, sugar, vegetable oils, beer, soft drinks, iron, steel, cement, and motor vehicle exports.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV African News, The Right to Know. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has called for a frank judicial collaboration in the case of sexual violence committed by World Health Organization agents in the Democratic Republic of Congo during the response to the Ebola epidemic, an official source said on Saturday. Let's take a look.
President Tshisekedi's call comes after the World Health Organization released a devastating report on Tuesday that 21 of its employees committed sexual violence against dozens of people during the DRC's Ebola response between 2018 and 2020. President Tshisekedi expressed his indignation, condemned these despicable facts, but still praised the courage of the World Health Organization for having publicly denounced these crimes committed by its agents. The Independent Commission of Inquiry identified 83 alleged perpetrators, 21 of whom were World Health Organization employees. The report of this commission, set up by the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, after revelations in the press, denounces structural failures and individual negligence. Mr. Tedros said he was sorry to the victims and promised severe consequences to those responsible after the report was published. On Friday, the World Health Organization's main donor countries, including the United States and the European Union, demanded the organization's total commitment to prevent the recurrence of sexual violence by some of its employees, particularly in the Democratic Republic of Congo. At the end of May, 53 World Health Organization member countries had publicly expressed their frustration with the slow pace of investigations and the lack of transparency.
Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, who led last month's coup in Guinea, was sworn in as interim president on Friday, promising to respect the West African state's international commitments while transitioning to civilian rule. Doumbouya, who led the overthrow of President Alpha Conde on September 5th, was sworn in by Supreme Court head Mamadou Sylla for a transition period of unspecified length. The new interim president spoke of his commitment that neither he nor any member of the junta would stand in any future elections that the military have promised to organize after the transition period. His administration's mission is to refound the state, he said, by drafting a new constitution, fighting corruption, reforming the electoral system, and then organizing free, credible, and transparent elections. He once again said nothing at the time of his swearing in about how long he will remain the interim leader. The new president also promised to respect all the national and international commitments to which the country has subscribed. The ceremony was held at the Mohammed V Palace in Conakry on the eve of a public holiday celebrating the 1958 Declaration of Independence from France. Doumbouya will serve as the transitional president until the country returns to civilian rule according to a blueprint unveiled by the junta on Monday that does not mention a timeline. Moving on, Nigeria on Friday celebrated its sixth first Independence Day in Abuja despite growing security challenges and a badly depreciated currency. The president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, has promised to revive the country's economy amidst challenges.
In a televised address, President Muhammad Buhari said the last 18 months had been some of the most difficult periods in the history of Nigeria since the Civil War. The country has seen in recent times more deadly attacks on local communities in remote villages and an increase in kidnapping for ransom that has continued in a cycle of violence that has defied measures introduced by authorities, including the deployment of thousands of security operatives to restore peace. Buhari pledged to continue to work on dialogue based on solutions to address legitimate grievances. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, one resident said the country had not been able to make so much progress due to systematic corruption, but was hopeful that the new breed of leadership could move the country forward.
General Jean-Marie Michael Mokoko, 74, a former presidential candidate in 2016 convicted of undermining state security, was returned to prison on Friday while he was treated for a year in hospital, his lawyer said, protesting the measure. On Friday morning, the users of the military hospital where the general had been interned for a year noted a strong presence of elements of the gendarmerie. They took him away and brought him back to the prison. The government and prison authorities have not yet given any reasons for his reinstatement. An unsuccessful candidate in the 2016 presidential election, the results of which he never recognized despite the clear victory of President Denis Sassou Nguesso, 70 years old, 37 of them in power. General Mokoko was arrested just after the election, officially for undermining the internal security of the state and illegal possession of weapons of war. He was then tried and sentenced in 2018 to 20 years of hard labor. Fell ill, this former chief of staff between 1987 to 1993 was evacuated to Turkey, where he received treatment between July and August 2020. Since his return, the officer had remained interned in the military hospital. Before he was returned to his cell, his lawyers demanded from the authorities a medical report establishing that he had recovered his health and a discharge order from the military hospital. Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, South Africa is among a number of African countries that have been red listed by the United Kingdom, meaning travel from the countries is suspended, which business personalities have said could hurt bilateral trade and economic relations.
The red list placement means people in the UK are banned from traveling to South Africa. It also means anyone traveling from Britain to South Africa faces a mandatory 10-day quarantine when returning home, even if they are fully vaccinated and test negative for coronavirus. In a recent discussion, the Department of Health and the UK High Commission put forward the latest trends around COVID-19 as well as the country's vaccination program. John Foster Pedley, the British Chamber of Commerce South Africa board chair, said that they are delighted that the UK High Commission has engaged with South Africans and the UK government has engaged with South African scientists and medical professionals. Africa's most industrialized economy is desperate to welcome visitors. The country has administered over 16 million vaccines. A big chunk of the country's tourists come from the UK. The World Travel and Tourism Council say the continued placement of South Africa on the red list by London could spell more disaster for the economy, which has already lost millions of jobs. Others argue that the UK's approach could hurt bilateral trade and economic relations. The CEO of Black Business Council, Ganchi Mataben, said that South Africa believes in diplomacy, adding that the UK is set to review its border measures in a fortnight.
In our health news today, Somalia has opened the country's first public oxygen plant as the horn of Africa nation with one of the world's weakest health systems combats COVID-19. The oxygen plant was opened on Thursday at a hospital in the capital Mogadishu and is expected to produce 1,000 cylinders of oxygen a week. The scarcity of medical oxygen has hurt response efforts across many African nations as the Delta variant of the coronavirus now drives the bulk of infections on the continent of 1.3 billion people. Insecurity in Somalia poses an added challenge to efforts to fight the pandemic. A COVID-19 ward recently set up at the hospital was partially destroyed weeks ago in an attack by the Al-Qaeda linked Al-Shabaab extremist group, which controls part of Somalia and frequently targets the capital. Part of the work around the oxygen plant's installation focused on repairing that damage. Somalia has one of the highest case fatality rates from COVID-19 in Africa, and few measures are enforced to slow the spread of the virus. The country has had nearly 20,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19, but more infections are likely undetected because testing is not widespread. Just 1% of the country's population of more than 15 million has been vaccinated. In our sports news today, the Uganda senior women's national football team, the Crested Cranes, and their first win at the ongoing COSAFA Women's Championship on Sunday afternoon, overcoming Minnows Eswatini. A brilliant performance saw Uganda run over Eswatini, securing a 5-1 win to brighten their chances of progressing to the semi-finals. Let's take a look. Hasifa Nasuna came off the bench with 30 minutes left to score a brace, while Sandra Nabweteme, Reticia Nabosa, and Joan Nabidi added a goal each. The Crested Cranes came into Sunday's game needing victory to brighten their hopes of advancing to the next stage, having played out a barren stalemate in the opening group game against Namibia. Daisy Nakaziro, who has had a remarkable year at her club, Lady Doves, began in goal, earning her debut on the national team. Nabidi fired Uganda into the lead at the 15th minute mark with her ferocious strike of a rebounding ball going straight into the back of the net. Nabosa, who was named player of the match, scored the second goal for Uganda with an easy tap-in, thanks to the donkey work from Reste Nanziri. In the second half, Eswatini made attempts and eventually got the consolation through Cheriwe Nkambore, who capitalized on a mistake by Asia Nachibuka. Nawetami, who was unfortunate to score early on, finally got her first goal of the tournament 2 minutes after the hour mark. Nasuna, who replaced Nabosa, finally put the icing on the cake with 2 quick goals. The first, a well-taken free kick in the 72nd minute, and the other, a perfect low drive 3 minutes later. Uganda will face Zambia in the final group game on Wednesday, and victory against the Shiporoporo will all but seal a semi-final berth for the Crested Crane. Now, before we end our news bulletin today, let's take a recap of our top stories. Museveni, Abu Dhabi Crown Prince discuss investment further cooperation. Uganda Airlines is said to launch first international flight to Dubai today. Democratic Republic of Congo president frustrated by despicable sex abuse by World Health Organization workers. And in sports, Crested Cranes and convincing win over Eswatini. That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.